Where are you looking for? Or do you work here? Oh, cool. Losing sight, sound, feeling disconnected. Attention homeowners. Okay. Wonder what's going on here. Restricted authorized personnel only. Hi.
And so they told him that he couldn't wear that minister thing.
Yep.
And
Are you filming?
By law, I can.
You can't with a phone. Didn't hear. No.
Actually,
Back out, shut the door, please.
you can't close early and you can't deny
I'm not
me access.
closing
It's the
early.
public area.
Please
She's
back
in
out
here.
and stop videoing then.
Ma'am, you can't do that. The laws forbid it. Ignorance of the law is supposed to be no excuse except when someone in a public office does it. What in the world's wrong with that? It does irreparable damage to the reputations, lives of the public, and yet they're trying to go ahead and tell me that I can't legally film in public. To be blunt, I care about the life, welfare, and dignity of that client, but they kind of like to force this stuff. Hi, ma'am. I don't know what they're trying to hide. Oh, by all means, leave it open. Walk in. Federal regulation requires that any individuals entering a security area must first sign in and be escorted by agency staff. Okay, that's a contradictory right there. That sign's not very clearly worded. What is it? Hello?
hello, can I help you?
Yeah, I wanted to talk to the supervisor.
The supervisor of our office?
Yes, ma'am.
She's not here. What do you need?
Well, I kind of wanted to apologize for the tone on my last visit to social services. I was almost completely out of gas money, and my vehicle apparently is being damaged repeatedly by crazy people. And I got told that I had all the forms put in, and I warned everybody I couldn't make a second trip. And I call up a day or so later, haha, you didn't turn it all in. We need this, this, and this. And no, we're not going to give you food stamps in 7 days, even if you qualify.
Right there, but we're not going to talk about anything, whether it's your case or not, on recording. It's everything in our office is confidential. So until you stop recording, I'm not going to discuss anything. If you would like, you can take a card for the call center.
Actually, ma'am, it's against the law to not, refuse service or to change it in any way. This is the equivalent of a wheelchair or a white cane. This is a disability accommodation. And as far as it goes, even without that, First Amendment auditors, there's a robust body of law backing us up that you can't close early, you can't deny us service, you can't treat us any differently than when we hold a camera.
Okay, you can take that card and you can call the help center if you have any questions, okay?
Ma'am, you can't refuse me service or treat me any different.
Your questions will be answered through the call center.
You were just answering another client's questions. That's clear-cut discrimination. I was outside the door.
Again, it's confidential. We're not going to answer your questions. I hope that you get them answered through the call center.
Ma'am, there's nothing confidential about your information. Ignorance of the law is supposed to be no excuse. One after another. It's so crucial, too. I can't keep up with a regular person's conversation, and I can't remember faces well enough to do a lineup, but I can shoot video. Even if I can't write fast enough to keep up with people or take down notes, I can shoot video. This is real disturbing about their behavior. Here we are. Civil Rights Department of Health and Human Services. Discrimination is prohibited. Clients and applicants for services and assistance. Legal Division of Health and Human Services, 600 East Boulevard Avenue, Department 325, Bismarck, North Dakota, 58505-0250 for zip. Those phone numbers, it looks like it got a TTY and a fax. 701-328-2311 or 1-800-472-2622. U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Office for Civil Rights, Region 8, 1961 Stout Street, Room 1185, Denver, Colorado, 294-3538, 1-800-368-1019 for the regular phone number. Centralized Case Management Options, U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, 200 Independence Avenue Southwest, Room 509F, HHH Building, Washington, D.C., 2001, 1-800-368-1019. They're not allowed to discriminate based on the camera, and they're not allowed to change service or treat us differently. The problem with qualified immunity is it openly allows public officials to abuse their power. The justices that did it at the time basically put it in place so that people could mistreat other people based on stuff that they felt was right, regardless of what the law or their public duty said, whether it was a person's skin color, gender, beliefs, whether they were a stranger to the area or somebody that the area was shunning. Basically, they were trying to allow for an avenue open for discrimination, but it's pretty well cut and dried here. This camera is no different than a white cane as far as disability accommodations or a service animal. And as far as the First Amendment audit goes, for those that are able-bodied that don't need them as an accommodation, they're not allowed to close early and they're not allowed to treat us any different. Unreal. And the law says ignorance of the law is no excuse. At least this place has the hours clearly posted.
You need to stop recording.
Or what? I'm in a public area that you're visible from a public vantage point. You need to obey the law. This is specifically in your job parameters. You can't discriminate. So tired of people not having a respect for the law. I wanted to come in and apologize for the tone of the last audit. The thing went viral. It blew up to over 2,000 views. Of course, Sean at the Granville Fire Department did a pretty good one, too. They're such nice people when they're not busy being crazy. Department of Human Services is prohibited from discriminating on the basis of race, color, sex, gender identity, sexual orientation, age, disability, which is specifically my Custer case with the ADHD, dyslexia, and the face blindness, national origin, religion, or status with respect to marriage or public assistance, and in some cases, political beliefs, in accordance with the Title that'd be 6 of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973, Age Discrimination Act of the 1975, Americans with Disabilities Act in 1990. Okay, so they're not quoting the one in 76. And the North Dakota Human Rights Act of 1983, same year that the U.S. Supreme Court brought in qualified immunity. People who contract or receive funds to provide services from the department are obligated to abide by the provision of these laws. That would include the Granville Food Bank, where that lady almost assaulted me. The woman that is in the city council almost assaulted me. Program information may be made available in languages other than English. Persons with disabilities who require alternative means of communication to obtain program information, Braille, large print, audio tapes, American Sign Language, should contact the department for assistance. Individuals who are deaf, hard of hearing, or have speech disabilities may contact the department through 7-Eleven relay service. And once again, the title over to discrimination is prohibited. Clients and applicants for services and assistance, Civil Rights Department of Health and Human Services, United States Department of Agriculture, excuse me. I really am getting squirrely with my ADHD and dyslexia. USDA, United States Department of Agriculture, and Justice for All. In accordance with federal law and the U.S. Department of Agriculture, civil rights regulations and policies, this institution is prohibited from discriminating on the basis of race, color, national origin, sex, religious creed, disability, age, political beliefs, or reprisal or retaliation for prior civil rights activity. For a program discrimination complaint, a complainant should complete a form AD-3027 at the USDA Program Discrimination Complaint Form, which can be obtained at https://www.ocio.usda.gov. I can't tell whether it's a forward or a backward slash since I'm dyslexic. Document slash ad, slash, it's document slash AD 3027. By the way, document only goes once. Or by calling 866-632-9992, or by writing a letter addressed to the USDA. The letter must contain the complainant's name, address, telephone number, a written description of alleged discriminatory action in sufficient detail for the Assistant Secretary of Civil Rights about the nature and date of the alleged violation. The completed AD 3027 form must be submitted to the U.S. Department of Agriculture by mail, U.S. Department of Agriculture, Office of the Assistant Secretary of Civil Rights, 1400 Independence Avenue, Southwest Washington, D.C., 250-9410, and then they've got the fax. And email program, program, small letters, intake, intake, at usda.gov. This institution is an equal opportunity provider, and then it's got it in Spanish. Sounds like she's busy calling the sheriff's department, and they get pretty out of bounds, but I'm here during posted hours. And it's like I said, the way the laws are written, they're not supposed to close early or run service any different, even if I didn't have a known cluster of disabilities. I wanted to come back to apologize for the tone of my last audit, for being so mean to them. Instead, they're just starting it over again. What bothers me more than anything is if these guys aren't educated. That's one thing that's disturbing. They'll tell you that ignorance of the law is no excuse for a regular person to break the law. But with law enforcement who does irreparably more damage with false arrests and accusation, they tend to get a free one. And that's not cool. I pretty much agree with the section of people that say go after pension funds because that strongly encourages the department to know the laws and to make sure to it that their attorneys do. There's such a huge body of case law, even in the states where they did have two-party consent, that basically got overturned one after the other about videoing in a public area. And this section here, everything on this side of the counter is open to the public, possibly even up to that wall hanging over there. What bothers me is that a lot of people, especially the economically disadvantaged, were in the same boat as the Native Americans back when they were trying to enforce their treaties, back when our nation first began. If we didn't have the money or the legal pull to get legal representation, we're basically out in the cold. This is so out of hand, it's scary. Hi.
Hello. I'm going this way.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought you wanted to be. Updating the Medicaid card. That's Ralph Waldo Emerson. Holy cow! I'm getting bad with my dyslexia. As you can tell, stress brings on my dyslexia. What lies behind us and what lies before us are tiny matters compared to what lies within us. In a way that's like scripture. Christ told us that what goes into a man doesn't make him unclean, but what comes out of him. And as much as, he was talking about the evil that comes out of our hearts, whether it's words, which can hurt worse than any blow, or whether it's actions. Every filthy thought, every murder proceeded out of the heart of man, whether it was Cain, whether it was Potiphar's wife, whether it was so many others. I want to go ahead and contact legal services too. It just bothers me. Am I going to be in front of somebody like Judge Roy Bean trying to say that, you can't, trying to find a person for, finding a person for swear words for basically quoting the right of habeas corpus. There's nothing funny about it. It's deadly serious. These people, where it comes for laws that protect people, whether it's civil rights or disability accommodations, this is life and death. Here's the Fair Housing Act. I'm going to go ahead and take stills of some of this. But I need to go ahead and put it back up on record.